Okay, so this video is not like my normal video. Basically, it's um, a situation that is close to my heart. Basically, it's caring for a sick child that has nephrotic syndrome. So I'll do two different areas. So I'll talk about first how how I found out this is what my daughter had. So basically, she had symptoms like allergies, and the first pediatrician that we had just gave her like allergy medication, and the second pediatrician that we had gave her allergy medication. And then finally that second pediatrician was like, you know what, her symptoms are not going away, so basically let's hello. Okay, sorry y'all. So basically her symptoms weren't going away, so the doctor was like, let's test her, her urine. So when she came back, she said, I think that she has this disorder, but I can't tell you that because I'm not a specialist. She said, so I want to send her to a specialist. So they referred her to a UCLA specialist because in my town, they don't have specialists for that. So basically, what happened is that we went to UCLA and they ended up doing a blood test, and then they ended up confirming that she had this disorder called nephrotic syndrome. And basically, it's when your kidneys leak protein through your blood and your urine. And I was like, oh, okay. But they were like, there's another part of it, and it's called minimal change disease. But we don't think she has that. We think she just has a nephrotic syndrome. And when they have the nephrotic syndrome, we just give them a medication called prednisone. And that basically, the steroid that we give her, it basically kicks it into remission. And then after so many weeks of being on the medication, they wean her off, and then they usually don't have a relapse until like maybe a year or so, or then some kids don't even have relapses at all. So I was like, oh, okay. So, to me, it sounded like, oh, they had it under control until they weaned her off the medication. And then my child kind of turned into something that I've never seen before. So she started getting like swollen, like Oompa Loompa swollen. So she's a very skinny girl. Like she's like 9 and she weighs like 40 pounds. She's really, really small. She almost looks like a 6-year-old, but she's going to be 10. And I was very upset because I was like, what is this? She was swollen. She couldn't fit her clothes. Like her belly was so, you could touch it and it would move like to the side, like squishy. Her face was so swollen that her eyelids would droop over, and then the bottom would be really puffy, so she couldn't see out of her eyes. You couldn't touch her skin because it was so sore. It just was a lot. And I called them, UCLA, and basically I felt like the doctor wasn't really listening. So I took her to the ER, and we ended up staying at the ER for a week. In my town, we don't have the kind of care like we should. So the doctor was like, we've been here for a week. Oh, but they gave her a Lasix, which is basically water pills, so they could basically drain her because she was so big that they needed to drain the liquids. And so he said, we can't really care for her, but I know that you don't really like UCLA. So if you want, we can basically refer you to another hospital, children's hospital. So I was like, okay. And he was like, but we have to go by ambulance right now. So I was like, oh no, because I have 3 other kids. So, but I made the choice to go, and it was the best decision ever because I got one of the best doctors, Dr. Grushkin. But I also sometimes, when we go on emergency, we see Dr. Letts, and she's a really good doctor too. And it just changed everything. They had a whole team of people, 20, like 10, 20 student doctors and doctors who gathered around you on a brief and basically briefed you on your child and explained to you in detail what exactly this is. She had to get like protein transplants. They explained to me like what was that and everything else. And it's been a rough 2 years because when we always taper her on the medication, she always has a relapse. She ended up having like a mini stroke. She ended up having high blood pressure. She ended up um, just a lot of times she's sick. So I will tell you guys this: she can't have salt, so we don't give her a lot of salt. I have changed my habits on eating. I have changed my habits on cooking. What I can take her out for. Let me see. When we go into like busy stores like Walmart, Kmart, and things like that, she does have to wear her mask. Um, when we go to hospitals, she has to wear her gloves and a mask, and I have to clean off the chairs and everything with sandy wipes. And I always make sure they check her blood pressure and make sure her blood pressure is normal because I don't want to have the same problem like I did last time when she had the mini stroke, which I'll probably in another video to go over that because that was scary in itself. Let me see what else. At school, sometimes people give me a hard time because they're like, "Oh, why don't you homeschool her?" Because having her around like these kids or whatever, and I'm like, but I need to give her some kind of normal. So she does go to school, but she does sit next to the teacher, and she knows she has her masks in her desk, so she knows that if she sees a lot of sick kids or whatever, she needs to put the mask on. She does have Clorox wipes, so she can clean it and wipe it. It's in her 504 plan. I had to get like a whole plan for her with the nurse of the district because it was so hard to basically get it. And I'll probably go over that in another video because it's funny how people work at a school and sit at a desk and they have children but tend to not care about yours. And I am going to put everybody on blast in the video. And I feel like maybe if I share it, then maybe basically I could help somebody else. So I will be sharing that video about what happened to me with the 504 plan and the special ed accommodations, because basically I felt like I kind of was treated unfairly. Being that my daughter wasn't even there, for most of the school year because she was in the hospital. But I will go over that in another video because this one is just the beginning of the nephrotic syndrome. How do I cope with it? I just do. There are nights where she's like, my head hurts, my legs hurt, this hurts, and I just have to cope with it. I just have to deal with it. There are times where she has fevers and all kinds of other stuff, and I just have to stay awake. I think we've gotten to the point where a lot of the time she sleeps upstairs, where I could hear her or see her, because I am afraid sometimes. But I just try to, take care of her the best way I can. And I just want to be able to be the best parent I can be by taking care of her the right way. So hold on real quick. I'll be right back. sorry. Daughter came home sick. So, um, that's all, you know, just, watch your child, watch your children, and, um, it, nephrotic syndrome is real. Oh, minimal change disease, real quick. So minimal change disease it's nephrotic syndrome, but it's a it's a stronger version, I would say. But the way they figure out if your child has that, they do a kidney biopsy. And I will tell you that it's been rough. But if you have any questions regarding nephrotic syndrome or anything, or just basically, you just want some love, or, say my child has it too, or I don't know if my child has this, you can comment below, and then I can, share some of the things that I've went through with you. Okay. Well, thank you, and see you guys in the next video.